In the last class, what we have done is till the pricing decision. Fine, here it is. Okay, so this inelastic, elastic demand curve, and the question related to elasticity is what we did. Fine, the question related to elasticity and little bit of economics is what we did. Fine. Now, from this point onwards, let's go here, make a new page. Okay, and see. Till here we have already done and discussed this chapter. Now we have to continue from this point onwards. It is mostly about common sense and maths. Okay, not about any particular topic or concept that you need to know. Fine.
Yes.
Okay, fine. So, first of all, we'll just go through all these pages so that we can be comfortable with what we are doing today. Okay, all right. See, this chapter starts from here. Fine. First thing is influences on price. What are the things which affects price? Fine. So the sensitivity affects the price. How much public is responsive towards the price? Fine. So accordingly, you will have to keep a price. Price perception means at times, like, if something is costly, we assume that that must be good in quality. So that is price perception. Quality, like, again, this is an aspect of price perception only. It's a continuation from there. High quality of goods has to have an high price. Intermediaries, how many number of people are there in between? So all these things are very simple stuff. Please go ahead with this. Markets is what we discussed in the class. Okay, all these markets, in fact, we discussed little bit more. We did duopoly also, which is not here. Fine. Then they are talking about demand. So we also started in the same format. We started what is demand, what is the factors affecting demand, and then we came all the way down to elasticity. Fine. Now here they are giving you types of demand curve. Again, the same thing is repeated. So this is like, these are few of the reasons why I feel that this chapter is completely jumbled up in the book. All right, they haven't followed one particular stream of discussion, and you will see from demand they directly jumped into price elasticity of demand. Fine, fair enough, no problem, fine, we'll continue with this. And then they gave us all the formulas that you already know. Percentage formula that you have written, change in q by change in p into p by q. This is the same formula. Okay. Then elastic and inelastic demand. What do you mean by elastic demand? What do you mean by inelastic demand? All discussed in the class. This is point elasticity. We have already discussed elasticity and the pricing decision. So we have already discussed this part also. Fine. If the elasticity is high, the company should think of finding ways to reduce the price that will help them more. Fine. And if it is inelastic demand curve, then you should try and add some more new features and increase the price. Okay. Now variables. Now after talking about all of that, now they are talking about factors affecting demand. See, so this is why I feel that this chapter is completely upside down. Price of other goods, so, like, the price of other commodity, income of the consumer, tastes and habits. Okay, expectations, we call it speculation. So all these things are there, demand and individual firm. Now they're talking about product life cycle, which we already have done one full chapter on this. Life cycle costing, remember? Same stuff. See, introduction phase, growth phase, maturity, decline. So this is same. Quality, again, high quality stuff should be priced at higher value. Marketing, 4 P's of marketing: price, product, place, promotion. All of this has to go hand in hand. Have we done this earlier? Because I don't know why I feel that I have already done this discussion also. But anyways, fine. Now deriving the demand curve, we discussed about this demand curve, A minus BQ, and the marginal revenue will be 2BQ. That's the only difference. Okay. We did the derivation also in the class, I hope. And then we, we did all these questions where we tried to understand how this maths works. Okay, now, like, these are alternate methods, these are the questions that we did. I think hopefully we did all of this verbally also. And then see, this is unnecessary maths. They're talking about total cost function. So we have already done this. See, if this is the function, total cost function, this is fixed cost, 0.75 is the average variable cost, and Q is the quantity. So 0.75 is what? Variable cost per unit, right? Out of this. And here we need marginal costing, because I mean, we have to do MR equal to MC. So 0.75 is the MC, okay, marginal costing. So that is how it is. Then these are the total cost functions. If you have a stepped fixed cost, then the total cost will be like this. And finally, now they are talking about the average cost, which is U-shaped. Now this is again a problem, because I mean, in costing, we never said that average cost is going to be U-shaped, right? So this is why this is again little bit out of place, because this U-shaped curve comes once, you are doing economics. This is in economics, this happens. Economies of scale, constant return, diseconomies of scale. Basically, this is uh, increasing return to variable proportion, constant return to variable proportion, and decreasing return to variable proportion. Fine, this was a short run phenomena. This is the topic completely from economics. They have given it here. Again, why we don't know. And then profit maximizing price output level. So MR should be equal to MC. I think again we have done that discussion enough in the class. Okay. And I think all these diagrams and all we have already done and seen. Let me check it again. Have we done all this? Okay. MRMC and all these curves. See, U-shaped MC, it goes from here. I think we have done all of this. Fine. Then determining, and then this was the question that we finally solved. Okay. So I think now this part is useless. Fine, because they have already used MR equal to MC, and now they are trying to prove why MR equal to MC is required. And there also they have given a very horrible example. Fine, because at the profit maximizing level, MR is not equal to MC. 143 and 140, it's not equal. Okay, so leave it. We'll start from here. Decision to increase production and sales. So pricing decision we were doing, and here they have again mixed too many things. If you guys remember last time when we were talking about limiting factor, okay, when we were talking about limiting factor, there I told you, like, see, this one question is out of place. That question was make or buy, if you remember. We did the question, but then I told you that, see, this question is, out of place, because here we are talking about how to solve with the, how to, deal with the limiting factors. Now make or buy is a question that arises because of limiting factor. Why you want to buy something? Why you can't make it? Because there is something limiting you. Correct. So now make or buy is something that you will get in limiting factor chapter also, and short term decision making chapter also. Okay, same question, because see, this is a short term decision that you have to take, and this decision, we, you are at this stage because of limiting factor. So in limiting factor chapter also you will get this part, and in decision making also you will get this part. Okay. So this is how you will find too many things being repeated, coming up here and there everywhere. Fine. Currently, the name of the chapter was pricing decision, and again they have put one question here: decision to increase production and sales. Now see what happens if we try to assemble all of this or structure it in a way. See, in costing, How many types of decisions you have to take? Fine. So one is the pricing decision. Fine. So one is about the pricing. Now, other decisions will also sometimes be related to pricing only. Like for example, now what we are going to do is actually a decision where it is called, there's a word for it, order, special order, special order. Fine. So you are doing a business, all right? Then there will be one guy who will come and he will give you one special order, one time kind of an order, and he wants discount. So can you give him discount? That is the question. Okay. Like, you are selling something for $10. He will come and say, I want to buy at $8. Now you do the math and say you will be able to sell this to me or not. And this is one time contract, one time deal. Okay. Once this is done, you go your way, I'll go my way. Fine. So one time deal. I'm not going to, like, disturb your normal business. Fine. This is called a special order. So here, what to write? Let's write pricing. Okay, one second. Let me see. Today, can we do relevant costing? Okay, no, we have things. Pricing decisions. So fine. Are we okay till here? Like, because again, I am unable to put this in a proper structure. So just to give you an idea that mostly what happens, see, these things do get entangled from this to that. For example, make or buy can be a question in limiting factor chapter also, and it will be a question in short-term decision making chapter also. Similarly, this special order is a question of decision making also, and it is a question of pricing also, right? Because see, this guy is trying to give you another price. Okay. So, like, uh, rather than categorizing it that this belongs to which segment, it will be better if we take one question at a time, apply common sense, and try to come out of it rather than, like, memorizing a format. Fine. Now, coming back to this particular question, what are they asking us to do here? Okay. See, George manufactures a product which uses two types of material. All right, one more thing. See, I am using this book. You guys have got workbook, right?
Yes, sir.
You have got the workbook, and I think I have already shared this book with you guys. So you have this in soft copy with you.
Yes, sir.
Fine. Now, what I will do is once I'm done with this segment, this full segment, because this is like, most important segment here. After this, it's going to be very easy. Okay, we are left with two more chapters, and after that, this is going to be very easy. So, what I will do is first I will finish it through the book, then we'll do it from the workbook, all the questions, because then I will stop discussing anything, only questions. Flip the page, there is a question, solve it, move, like that. Okay, and then we'll do the revision kit, and then I'll move into the next part. Fine. So, just remind me about the workbook that we had to do sums from there also. All right, so now let's get back to this. George manufactures a product which uses two types of material A and B. Each unit of production currently sells for $10. $10. Okay. Local trader has expressed his interest in buying 5,000 units. He wants to buy 5,000 units from you, but is only prepared to pay $9 per unit. He wants to pay $9 per unit. And then they have given you all of this story. Read it carefully. Read it carefully. Take 2 minutes. So this will become 58 and then I'll start talking. 10:56 it is. Take 2 minutes, read it carefully because there are things I'm going to ask. Okay. Now we have to do the maths for 5,000 units. Fine. And it is a very simple calculation. We are going to do marginal analysis. So what is the extra money I'm going to make? Fine. So revenue, you will be able to sell 5,000 units for $9, right? So you will be getting $45,000. Done. 5,000 units and 9. Now what we'll do is, for doing this work, whatever is the cost, I will divide this by the cost and I will see that is it like feasible or not. Okay. So I will start deducting the costs. Point number one, material A. Fine. You don't have to go on the other side. You just look here. Don't look at this part. Fine. Right now, the other one, this one. Okay. Additional information I don't want. Just with this, can you tell me what is the cost of material A for 5,000 units? What will be the cost of material A here? If I ignore the additional information, how much? How much should we write for material? What is happening here? I hope you guys can hear me, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the question is, for 5,000 units, what will be the value of the like material, cost of material? What information is missing? What is it that you need, which you don't see in the question? Fine. So we'll wait here.
The labor hours available.
Labor
Sir, is
hours.
it 1.8?
Okay, 12.8 is what? Like 20, 12 point.
1.8. 1.8.
Acha, 1.8 is what?
Material
1.8
A.
thousand or what? Because I am asking you the cost of 5,000 units, like material A cost for 5,000 units. And I think somebody was asking about labor. I don't know why. See, the question that I have asked is what? Material A, how much should I write? See, revenue will be 5,000 units at 945. Any doubts with that? For making 5,000 unit, what will be the material cost? This is what I am asking. For making 5,000, what will be the material A cost? Simple. Don't do the whole maths, just material A. See, here it is 350,000 and here it is 25,000, right? 25,000. So how much should I write instead of this? For 5,000 units only. That is the question. And 1.8 was, I think, what, per unit?
Okay, I got it. Wait.
Okay, so fine. I mean, once you're done with the final maths, tell me how much, like, what values you guys are getting. I have asked only about material A, and you guys have to give me the answer today only, right? So, good morning, everybody. Please wake up because now I am feeling you guys are kind of here but not here. Okay,
So isn't it just 5,000 into 25? Or is it more?
5,000 into 25. Okay, see, first of all, you tell me how do you look at this 5,000? What do you think? What is this 5,000? This 25,000 is what?
Cost of 1 kg.
1 kg. And how do
Yeah.
you, like, look at this? What does this
It's
means?
25,000.
So this is not 25, this is 25,000. So what do you want to say?
Yes.
1 unit is 25,000. Do you get my point?
Uh, yeah.
Please be precise, all right? I mean, that's why I told you guys to wake up, all right? I gave you 2 minutes to read the question, and I have given you almost 5 minutes today. Read the question properly. See how much, like, lightly you guys are taking this. And there's a very easy calculation I'll show you, but I just want to see if you guys can get that, because now we are not talking about any magical concept. We are just talking about how much concentration you can bring in, find how much serious you are with this calculation. Simple. Okay, again I'm repeating the question. This guy is wanting 5,000 units. We'll do simple maths. We'll see if I sell goods to him, how much money he will give me and how much money I will have to pay. All right, so what he will give me is easy. 5,000 into 9, 45,000. Now for making 5,000 units for this guy, how many units, or sorry, how much money do I need to spend? Again, for making 5,000 units, how much money do I need to spend? Okay, so they have given us material cost is 1 kg per unit, and the total is what, $25,000. Okay, so for 5,000 units, what is the cost of material A? Okay, 1 second. This is my CMA student. He will help you. Okay, this is the question. Okay, so now I'm running out of my patience. So one by one. See, first of all, how, like, can you guys tell me what is the total number of units which we are producing now? See, this material A is what, per unit cost or total cost?
Total cost.
This is
Total.
this is the total cost, correct? 25,000 for how many units? For how many units? Correct? That is the missing link in this entire question, and that is why
Yes.
I asked that this question has got nothing to do with logic, concept, theorem. It has got nothing to do with all that. How much clear you can think, it's all about that. Fine. What is given here? See, each unit of production currently sells for how much?
10.
10. And what is your total sales here?
350. 350.
350,000.
350. So 350,000 is your sales, and one unit is $10. So how many units you are currently selling?
35,000 units.
Very good. So for 35,000 units, your cost was $25,000, right? For 35,000 units. So this is your per unit cost, agreed? And then for 5,000, it will be how much? Are we fine with that? This was the missing number, which I think mostly you guys couldn't find out because it was not
3571.
what?
Okay. 3571.
Okay. Okay, we'll change this number, so don't write it. Fine, I will change this number because we didn't do the additional information, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll bring all of that in. But please try to understand, this is not correct. This way, you guys will, like, make yourself believe that I'm studying too much, I'm working hard. But this is not a gym, right? Where working hard means you will start lifting from 20, you will start lifting 50 kgs. All right. Here it is concentration. Okay. And see,
Yes.
this whole thing was in front of you throughout 350 and 10. But somehow you couldn't match this, that this is the information. And you know why you couldn't match this? Because you knew something is missing, but you couldn't figure out what is that. In order to find what I am asking you, you have to find something else, and you didn't knew what was that. That's why you couldn't calculate this, nothing else. So concentration is the key. I don't know, please do that. First of all, tell me, this is what, if I do this calculation, what will I get? I will get the raw
Per
material
unit price.
per unit, like per unit rate. I'll get the per unit rate, correct? Then see here, in the adjustment they are saying that the minimal inventory material available for the prices for new material is expected to be 5% higher for material A. So for material A, we are expecting that the price will increase by 5%. So if I do this, multiply this by 1.05, because see, this is per unit. If I multiply, now I will get the rate of the new 1 unit, and now I will multiply whole thing by 5,000 units. I will get the cost of 5,000 units. Fine. Any questions in this?
Yes.
So do the whole math and tell me how much do you get.
$3,750.
3,750. Fine. I mean, now this is simple calculation, right? So I think I can rely on this, right? Are we done till here?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So material B, fine. For material B, they are saying that material B's price will increase by 3%, 3%, okay? And the rest of the thing is here. Fine. So, like, here it will be 1.03, okay, multiplied by 5,000. These things are not going to change. And why we are taking 5,000? Because in the question, this was also mentioned. See, material A, 1 kg per unit, 1 kg per unit. So that means if you are making 35,000 units, actually you are using 35,000 kgs, correct?
Yes.
So here you write units or you write kgs. It's the same thing, correct? Similarly, for the second one, 1 liter per unit, 1 liter per unit. So if you are making 35,000 units, that means you were using 1,000 liters. And if I want to make 5,000 units, I need 5,000 liters. So all I need to do is I need to find out the cost of this. So first I'll try to find the cost of the old one, which is $50,000 by 35,000 liters, right? This was the old price into 1.03. That is the new price multiplied by 5,000 liters. That is the actual price that I need here. How much is that? Hello?
Yes.
So tell me the answer. How much?
7357.
7357. Then the next one, labor, 1 hour per unit. So how many units you are making? 35,000 units. That means 35,000 hours of work, right? And you are paying how much for 35,000 hours? You are paying 75,000. So if I do $75,000 by 35,000 hours, I will get the hourly rate. Yes or no?
Yes.
Fine. And now let's see what do they want from us from labor. They are saying George has been having problem with the workforce. He currently has the capacity to produce how much? 36. Correct? How many units you are already producing?
35.
So we are left with 1000 units only. Right?
Yes.
And this new customer, how many units he is asking for?
5.
Are you guys understanding the maths?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
There's shortage. So we need to
Yeah,
buy.
yeah. So 36 is what we have. 35 is what I'm already using. So I am left with 1000 extra. But this new guy is asking for 5000. So 1000 I can take from here. The remaining 4000 I'll have to hire,
Yes.
right? Extra overtime. Correct? So to 1000 people, I will be paying the normal rate which I used to pay, which is this one. Okay. So
Yes.
into 1000. Understood? Plus for 4000 I'll be using the extra rate which is 3.5 per hour
3.50.
for any additional units. Okay, so 3.5 I'll have to multiply here. Do you guys understood the maths?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Great. So tell me the number also then. How much do we get here?
16143.
16143. Okay, fine. So this part is gone. Now they are saying variable overhead. So first of all, you guys tell me, they have said nothing about the variable overhead anywhere.
Yes.
Fine. So what do you think? Should we take variable overhead or we should not take variable overhead? What do you guys think? Should I write variable overhead or I shouldn't write?
No.
We should not write. Correct?
Yes.
Can you guys speak up?
Yes.
Hello, hello, hello. We should not take variable overhead, right?
Yes.
Okay. So that is the final answer. Will not take variable overhead. Now, can you give me the reason why you are making 35,000 units, sorry, 35,000 units and you are incurring a cost of 20, no, 50,000, 50,000. So you want to say that you will make 40,000 units and your cost will remain 50. Then only you are not including this, right? Is this the definition of variable cost? Is this a type of variable cost? Variable cost means that
Yes.
quantity will keep on increasing and the cost will not increase.
No, no, no.
Okay.
Yes.
So in the book, they have not taken variable overhead. Fine. I have no idea why. They should have taken overhead. You should understand that. We are not here to match the answer from the book. Fine. We are here to understand something, learn something so that you can use your own brain. Fine. Here maybe they have forgot to use this. See, material A, material B, labor and fixed overhead, and that's it. Fine. But do you understand, if you are increasing the production, obviously variable overhead will increase, right? Fixed overhead will not increase, I agree. But variable overhead should increase, correct?
Yes.
So
Yes, sir.
what we'll do is we'll take 50,000 divided by 35,000. That will give us the hourly rate, and then multiply by 5,000, because 5,000 hours of work is required, right? So do the maths and see what do you get. Our answers will not match. We don't want to match answers, right? We are happy with what we are going to get. So how much do you get here?
7143.
How much? 11?
714.
714.
Yes, 143.
3. Okay. So this is variable overhead. Then as far as fixed overhead is concerned, they are giving you a direct number here. Where is it? Okay. See, included in the fixed overhead, salary of the manager is there. The manager is very stressed and exhausted, and he is already threatening you that he will leave job if you don't pay him money. And now without him, you can't do this work. So 5,000 is what he wants. If you want him to be in the business, you will have to pay him 5,000, then only he will stay. So this is the overall total cost. Now you do the maths. 45 minus all these numbers. 45,000 minus all these numbers, and see what do you get.
Five six zero seven.
We are still left with 5607.
7.
Is like everybody getting this number? Someone else, at least two
Yes.
people confirm this.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
This is
5607.
fine, right? So this is our incremental profit, and hence we will agree, we will take his offer, because at the end I'm getting something more than my expenses, right? So why will I say no to it? Since it is a one of its kind or order, we'll take this, no problem. So incremental profit 5607. Fine with it?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now this was the overall question. We are done with this part. Should he accept the new order? Yes, he should. In their calculation, they are getting 12,767 and they are saying yes, they should. So same stuff. Fine. Okay with that?
Yeah.
Now, offering volume-based discount. So if somebody is giving you volume-based discount, then what will you do? And they have given you some beautiful formula here, which looks like some chemistry formula. So leave it. All right. Let's do the numbers. The numbers are easy. Fine. The formula is a little bit horrible. See, for example, suppose that a company sells a product at a price of $10, unit variable cost 4. So the sales manager believes that by offering a customer a discount of 5% for buying at least 5,000 units a year, the customer will increase purchases from their current level of 4 to 5 per year. So currently they are buying 4,000, they'll start buying 5,000. The effect on profit each year would be calculated as, what will be the effect on profit because of this? Fine. See, two ways of calculation. One, easy way, or maybe idiot's way of doing the work. Easy. Fine. You don't have to be a scientist for this. Take 4,000, take 5,000, do the maths, and like just match the profits. As easy as that. Fine. This is what they are saying, right? Currently people are buying at 4,000. Okay, so if they are buying 4,000 units, your what do you say, variable cost, so contribution is $6, right? So 6 into 4, 24,000 is what you are getting. You are getting 24,000 extra, like not extra contribution today. In this case, if they buy 5,000, you will get how much contribution? So 5 into 6, you will get 30,000 contribution. Fine, but then you will have to pay 5% discount. Okay, so 5% discount, 5% of $10 is 0.5. Okay, and on 5,000 units, if you give 0.5, 2,500 is the discount. Do the maths yourself, you will feel better. This is the discount amount. So basically my profit will be 27,500. Now you tell me, profit of 24,000 or profit of 27,500, which one is better? Okay, So if you compare,
And is
we are making an extra profit of 3,500. Fine. I think this, like I know I call this idiot's way of doing the work because see, no rocket science involved. Fine. No incremental, marginal, no heavy words. Simple maths. If I sell 4,000 units, what is the contribution? If I sell 5,000 units, what is the contribution? And then minus the discount. Now, what is the difference? So by doing this, by offering this discount, I'll be making a profit of 3,500 more than what I am making right now. Okay. Another intelligent way, which is actually I think in this case, that is the problematic way. Fine. Incremental analysis. Okay. So now you do the maths like this. Incremental sales. How much extra sales you will get? Fine. So earlier your sales was 4,000 into 10. So this was your original sales, right? 4,000 into 10. Now your sales is how much? Fine. So I will write it like this. See, currently you are selling 5,000 units at 9.5 and earlier you were selling 4,000 units at $10. Fine. So this is 40,000. Do the maths and tell me how much is this? This will be 47,500. Still do the maths and check. You will get 7,500 here. Do the maths and tell me the answer. Is this fine?
Yes, sir.
Now, this is incremental sales and then incremental cost. What is the extra cost? So see, earlier you were making 4,000, now you are making 5,000. So 1,000 extra, right? 1,000 units you are making extra and per unit variable cost is 4. Fine. So 4,000 is your extra cost. So basically you will be making what? 3,500 incremental profit. You know what? See, costing, finance, there is not one format, all right, that you have to follow this. It's not that this is right and this is wrong. Fine. The way it is in accounts. In accounts, it's not about the maths, it's about the presentation also. You cannot write the PL in your own way. There is a specific way in which you have to write. Okay. But for costing and finance, there is no right or wrong way. There is a right and wrong answer. So do whatever suits you. If you can come out with the correct one, it's all good. It's all fine. Are we okay with this?
yes.
Great. Now, pricing strategies. They are talking about the strategies now. And now, let me go back to this. Okay, now see the remaining strategies that we have got. I think we started on the very first day of pricing with these discussions. So, see, let me find it where it is. Okay, first we were doing some shadow price. Fine, see, pricing decision. Okay, we have economics. Actually, right now we discussed this economics based pricing and little bit of market based pricing, but now we are left with market based and cost based specifically. Fine. So let's do this pricing decision. Let's talk about these two methods which we haven't discussed yet. So I'll write here once again. Pricing decision is divided into, the discussion is divided into three parts. One is the cost based methods of pricing. Okay. And then we have market based methods and we have economics based methods. So we have already done this MRMC and all that stuff. Okay. Now let's talk about cost based. Fine. And There is a very weird kind of question given in the book, but I'll avoid that. And because it's a very simple stuff. See, let's say these are the costs given, cost per unit. Okay, cost per unit. So we have material, we have labor, we have variable overhead, okay, and then we have fixed overhead, and then we have fixed overhead. So these are the costs, okay. Let's say 5 3 2 2. So this has become equal to how much? 10 12 12. All right, this is the cost, this is the cost. Now see, there is something called full cost pricing. Full cost pricing, fine. So as per this pricing, what we'll do, we'll ask the customer to pay $12. That's it, full cost. Then there is another method, full cost plus pricing, plus pricing. Okay, so basically we'll ask him to pay 12 plus some profit. There will be a calculation given. Profit should be 10% on markup, 20% on margin. So whatever they say, we'll do that. Okay. Then we have variable or marginal cost. Variable or marginal cost pricing. Marginal cost pricing. So fine. This is your marginal cost, right? How much? 10. So 10. Okay. Or it can be variable or marginal cost plus pricing plus. So fine, the profit will be calculated on the basis of this. Is that okay? It is as simple as that. Are we fine with this? Why will anybody do this? Where is it? Why will anybody do this? Why will anybody do this? I don't want to talk about that right now. I just want to say that is this okay to you or not? Like, do you understand the method of pricing? Why anybody will do this? We'll talk about it later. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Fine. Now see why and when a company does all these things. Fine. So especially see, there are few, like, situations where the company does this. All right. Like for example, if there is a departmental transfer being done, like department is transferring goods to another department. Okay. So in that case, because it is for the greater good of the entire company, they may follow this marginal cost. That's it. Like, because see, this is my variable cost, right? So if you just pay this amount to me, I am not at a loss. All right. So when one department wants to help another department, they can do this. I have spent the money, I have done the work. You take the product, you just give me that much of money, which I have given you. I don't want profit from you. If you go out and buy, whoever will sell it to you, they will sell it at more than 10, right? Because why will they leave their profit? Fine. So that is one way. Full cost pricing. Same stuff. When one department is transferring goods to another department, when there is no spare capacity, we'll talk about all of this at the end. There is one full chapter on this transfer pricing. Fine. There is one full chapter on this transfer pricing where we'll talk about all these things that I was telling you right now. Departmental transfers. Fine. Generally, at that time, these things are used. Okay. Generally, not always, generally. Fine. Because see, currently what we did, the question that we did here, which method we were following here, 5607, which method we were following? Fine. In this, don't you think we were following variable cost plus pricing? Why? We added all the variable cost and the profit, 5607, variable cost plus pricing, and this guy is ready to pay 45. Good for us. Okay. So this is our cost based methods, cost based. Now watch this. There is one question given in the book which I want you guys to ignore. Yeah, this one. Okay, because see, markup company begin new product X for which the cost estimates have been made, material, labor, variable production, everything is given. Okay, where is that question gone? Okay. Now, production fixed overheads are budgeted at this per month, and because of shortage of machine capacity, the company will be restricted to 10,000 hours of machine time per month. Fine till here. The absorption rate will be direct labor rate. However, budgeted director labor hours are 25 per month. It is estimated company could obtain a minimum contribution of 10 per machine hour on producing items other than product X. Now, till here we are fine. This last paragraph, see, the direct cost estimates are not certain. Okay, as to material usage rates, the direct labor and direct labor productivity, and it is recognized that the estimates of direct material and labor cost may be subject to an error of plus minus 15%, machine time subject to an error of plus minus 10%. Now these kind of questions, this is like, now statistics happening here, standard error. Okay, now this will, like, mix the question a little bit. Okay, the company wishes to make a profit of 20% on full cost. So what I will suggest at this point of time is to, like, ignore possible costing errors. So you just ignore the subject as a whole, this chapter as a whole. Fine, ignore this particular question. All right, so just mark this question and cut it off. We don't want this question. Okay, now here I will show you full cost plus method. So the normal full cost method is what? That is here. Fine. What they have done in the beginning is they have merged it with little bit of statistics also, which we don't want right now. Okay. So see, look at this question and try. A company budgets to make 20,000 units which have a variable cost of 4. Okay. 4. Fixed production cost 60. So if 60 is fixed production cost and your budgeted level of activity is 20,000, that means $3 per unit is your overhead absorption rate. Do you understand that? $3 per unit is your overhead absorption rate. Do you understand that? Looking at this particular question.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, if the selling price is to be 40% higher than full cost, so what is the full cost? 3 and 4, 7. And what is 40% of 7? 40% of 7, 2.8. Are you guys getting that? I don't know which calculator you guys are using.
Yeah, 2.2.
Fine, 40% of 7 is 2.8. So 2.8 plus 7 will be 9.8. Correct?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So see, 9.8 is what we have. Okay? Are we fine with this? 9.8.
Yes.
This is as
Yes,
simple
sir.
as this. This is as simple as this. The one question which is given is little bit horrible. All right. There are two questions in this book which I will ask you to, like, ignore. One is this, and one question is in the decision making segment under the heading outsourcing. Fine. So these two questions are basically out of place. I hope we are fine with 9.8. Let's move forward. Marginal cost plus pricing. Okay. So again, we have already discussed marginal cost plus pricing means variable cost plus some profit. That is what we are going to do, right? Now
Yes.
in this question, what they have done is, again, they have like given you a mathematical question rather than a conceptual question which will teach you about the variable costing. Fine. Here they have given you a mathematical question where maths is more important than the concept. Fine. Have a look at this. Your variable cost is how much? 5, 3 and 7. Is that 15? Are we fine with that 15?
Yes, sir.
Now they are saying fixed overhead is 10,000 and the budgeted sales is 400 units. So you want to sell 400 units, okay, and your overhead is 10,000 and you want to do break even. So do you remember the formula of break even? Do you remember the formula of break even? Break even in units, okay? Fixed cost by contribution per unit. Fine. So here they have already given 400. Here they are giving you 10,000. Can't you calculate contribution per unit? Contribution per unit will be how much? 25. Are we fine with that?
Yes,
Can
sir.
you go
Yes,
back to
sir.
the question?
This is the question.
Okay.
Variable cost is 15. Okay. Fixed cost given and the sales given, and they want to make break even on 400. Okay.
Yes.
Fine. So if they want to make break even on 400, that means the contribution per unit is this. And if you remember, what is contribution? Sales minus variable cost is contribution. So if you want this to be
Yes.
25, variable cost already 15, so this has to be 40,
Yes.
right?
Got it.
Fine. Now in the question, they are asking you something else. Determine the profit markup. Markup means profit on cost, which needs to be added to marginal cost. So how much profit on marginal cost? So 25 by 15 into 100. Do the maths. I think you'll get 166.67.
Yes.
Yeah, 166.6.
Okay. Is this okay?
Yes.
See, understand one thing, all of you. When I will do the question, it will be very easy. You know, I left you with one question and you guys would have spent my 2 hours only thinking about that one question. Okay? You have to get serious, fine, and you guys need to, like, do something, some more, like some studies on your own, because I know all this stuff. Fine. I don't have to sit in the exam with you. I am not going to decode the question, all the question for you. Decode means when you read a question, you have to process it. Like, what is this asking? What do I need to do? Here, what happens when I read the question? I explain you, see, this is this line saying, this is what they want from us. And then still you guys are taking, like, 2 minutes, 5 minutes to do simple maths. Okay. So when I leave you to do the interpretation, like, in 2 hours, maybe you will let me do only one question. Okay. This has to be speeded up. We are already at 4th October, right? So October and November, 2 months you have got. In December, you have to sit for your exam. Fine. I can give you more and more and more questions, but the point is, who will solve those questions? At the end, you will bring all of that to me only to solve. So what is the point? Fine. Try yourself. See, don't, I mean, obviously you will face problem initially. It will be, like, very difficult for you. Easy questions you will not be able to do. But then the point is that once you face this hardship, then what do? Like, you know, you will lay down your weapons, done, I can't do this, or you will keep on trying. That is it all about. Okay. Like initially, this was difficult for me also. It's the same stuff for everybody. Nobody is born with two brains, right? And those who are, they are going through surgery, right? To make it one only. So understand, fine, until and unless you try to read the question, try to interpret it your own way, and as per that interpretation, do the maths and see that this is not the answer. So again, you have to cut, again, you have to read. Where, like, what is the point that you couldn't understand? Fine. This learning process is with you only. Fine. If you, like, you know, okay, you tried and the answer is not matching, okay, no problem. We'll see. Sir will ask from the teacher. That's not how it is done. All right. The more and more efforts you'll put in this, and this is the effort that you have to put in. The effort is to keep trying. Okay. Now, advantages, disadvantages, it is simple and easy. The markup percentage can be varied. Like you can do the reading, you will feel better about it. Here we have another question, interesting one. See, this company, Tiger has budgeted to make, and again, understand one more thing. The questions which we are doing, the basic concept, the basic idea of the calculation remains same. The questions, the format, the look of the question, the way we are approaching the question will keep on changing. Fine. So this is why again I think people find this subject difficult because there is nothing to memorize and you are used to memorizing the stuff. So that is why
Yes.
maybe, like, you know, as a student you will find it difficult, obviously. Okay. Each question is unique. The format that you have to make is unique. The approach that you have to take is unique. Fine. You are not going to find another question which will look exactly the same and then you will just do what you did in this question and you will get through with it. Fine. Now, Tiger has budgeted to make 50,000 units of its product, Tim. The variable cost is 5 and the annual fixed cost is 150. Fine. So we got these three numbers, 50,000, 50, 150 and $5 is the variable cost. Fine. Now, the financial director of this company has suggested that a profit margin of 25% on full cost should be charged for every product sold. Okay. So this is okay, fine, very good. Now the marketing director has challenged. The financial director is saying this, and the marketing director is saying, no, I have gone into the market and this is what I have found. If you want to keep the price 9, you will be able to sell 42,000 units. If you put it 10, 38, if you make it 13, you will be able to sell only 27. Okay. So see, two people have given two of their ideas. Now calculate the profit for the year if a full cost price is charged. Means forget about the marketing director, just these two paragraphs and tell us what is the full cost pricing. Okay. Easy maths. See how, what is the fixed cost? 150. And how many units you are planning to make? 50. So overhead absorption rate is what? $3.
Yeah.
150 by 53, and here it is 5, so 3 and 5, 8. 8 is the total cost. Are we fine with that?
Yes, sir.
And 25% of 8 will be $2.
Total 10.
So total 10. So fine. They are saying calculate the profit for the year if full cost is charged. Okay. So fine. We will be charging the price as 10 and we'll be able to sell what? 38,000 units, right? At $10 you will be able to sell how many units? 38,000 only, correct?
38,000.
Now when you will do the maths, your maths will look something like this. They want the profit, right? So sales will be 10 into 38,000. Variable cost will be, it was what, 4 or 5? 5, I think,
5.
5. So 5 into 38,000. So you will get contribution and then minus the fixed cost. So fixed cost was 150. Remember? You will get the profit here. Now this maths which you are doing, this whole maths is as per marginal costing. Marginal costing, the initial marginal and absorption costing classes that we did, fine. This is marginal costing. If you do the same calculation using absorption costing, so in that what happens? Sales will remain same, 10 into 38,000, which is 380, and then you do less cost of sales. All right, and how do we calculate this? See, we do this like this: opening, which is 0, plus production. So production, how much? We are producing 50,000 units, right? So if we are producing 50,000 units, the cost will be 50,000 multiplied by, and in absorption costing we write the full cost, so that is 8, and then we'll write minus closing stock, that is how much? Out of 50, 38 sold, so 12 is remaining, so 12 into 8. Okay, so do the maths. How much do you get? 8 into this is 380, this is 8 into 5, so that is 400,000, and then minus 12 into 8 will be how much? 12 into 8, 96. Okay, so what is left? Do the maths. 4 minus 96, I think this will be 304. Okay, this will be 304, and then minus
Yes.
380, so you get 74,000 here, and here what you will get? 380, and this into 5 is what? Half of this, what? 19, 190, I think. Yes.
76.
So this minus 190 minus 150, what do you get? What do you get?
So we get 76 there, not 74.
Okay, fine. We'll get 76 here. And how much do we get here? 40,000.
We get 40.
40, right? And again, if you remember, once upon a time when we did this chapter, what is the difference? How do you reconcile the difference? Closing stock, that is 12,000, multiplied by the, what was that? Overhead absorption rate, the fixed rate, which is $3 in this case. So that is the difference, right? 36,000. Okay. Now, if you want to know more about this, fine. So you can go here and see absorption costing, where we discussed about absorption, marginal, how do we do the maths, what is the difference, fine. All of this is clearly mentioned and discussed in, I think, the second class. Okay, so you can go and check it there. Fine. This is it for this particular question. Second is calculate the profit maximizing price. When you hear profit maximizing, what comes to your mind?
Highest price.
No.
No,
After
I
so
know
much
that's
of
not the right answer.
costing, how can you give me that answer? See, highest price. See, after so much of things, this is your demand curve, right? Highest price will give you less production, less sales.
Yes.
How will you make a huge profit because of high price?
I was speaking in general. You said what does come to your mind?
In general also that doesn't work. See, if we increase the price of one course, fine, one subject we will take 10,000 QR, we'll make high profit, or all the students will run away from here. So in general also this doesn't work, right? Right? Demand curve is
Yeah.
like this. So that is like, that is one thing. Generally, profit maximization is at MR equal to MC. Okay?
Yeah.
So that is one thing, but here in this particular question we can't do this because MC, marginal costing, is $5, and the price range which is given doesn't goes all the way back to 5. It is still 9 only, correct? So that is why if it is 9, then what we have to do is simple maths. Demand is given, price per unit is given, you calculate the contribution, okay, and
Yeah.
highest contribution will give you the highest profit. Simple as that. So basically what we need to do here is, I think I can copy this one. Yes. So see, what we need to do is we need to take this from here, take it all the way. Okay. So this is what is given to us, right? Price per unit. You know the variable cost, right? Variable cost is 5 per unit, correct? So you can directly calculate contribution per unit from here. So this will become what? 4. This will become 5, 6, 7, and 8. Fine. Now total contribution will be how much? Total contribution. So 4 into 42. How much is that? 168, I think.
168.
May be wrong. You can check.
Yeah,
58.
160.
So 380. 190 is what we are going to get. Find 35 into 6. So 2 is 70. 210 is what you are going to get. Okay. 32 into 7. So 210 and 14. 224, I think, is what we will get. 27 into 8. Fine. So into 8 is like 200, and 7 into 8 is 14. So I think this is 214. Fine. Again, please check. I'm not too confident with this.
216.
Huh?
216, the last one.
The last one
216.
is 16. Okay.
Yes.
16. Fine. So this is the best. 224 is
Yeah.
the best. Fine. So this is the best price
Okay.
to be charged. Correct? Easy, right? But it requires application of your brain. If you are sitting and thinking the traditional way of doing things, again, I must be like, too much of like complaints I have, right? Every time I keep on complaining. But see, the thing is that you have to understand this is what you guys are doing. I can't help it. When you see a question, the first thing is not how can I solve this problem or what is the problem. Your first thought is, where have I seen this kind of a question?
It's an open book exam.
It is an
Open book exam.
exactly.
Basically, it's not like F6 or F7, right?
F5 is an open book exam.
Yeah. It's
It,
not like F6, F8, F9.
it is not
The
like
questions
that.
are getting,
Yeah,
yeah.
tell me.
The
Now I'm like,
format is different, right?
yeah,
Like for F6, we'll get the questions which are according to the book.
okay,
But for F5, there will be
yeah,
something else.
like that's a good approach. Fine, but it is not an open book exam, right? I hope you know that.
I know, but
Yeah.
like the calculations.
Yeah. See, the thing is that, the first thought that goes into your head when you see a question, all right? So the first thing is if you have a question and like, you have seen something like that, you feel comfortable with it. And this is coming because of accounts. Because in accounts, what happens? See, a trial balance is given and adjustments are given. What do you think? What are they going to ask you to do? Prepare what? A trial balance is given, find debit credit, and adjustment is given. So what are they going to ask you to do? Prepare what? Final
Profit
accounts
and
from here, PL and balance sheet. Correct? So when you look at this format, you already like, you are a little bit relaxed because some things right? Like capital is written here on the credit side, so you know where it will go in the balance sheet. sales is written, so you know where it will go in the PL, correct? You are getting some support from the format. All right, if you see a question where they have given you balance sheet of 2 years, so you have got balance sheet of 2 years, 2010 and 2011. Now two things, either they will ask you to make cash flow statement or they will ask you to do ratio analysis. So you already get some support from the format. While doing the
Yes.
answering also, see, cash flow you can't write it in your own way. There is a specific
Yes. Yes.
format, one thing after another. You can't do cash from operating activity, cash from financing, and then cash from investing. You can't do that, correct? So you get too much of support from the, like, the statements, all right, from the formats. But when you are doing costing or when you are doing finance, it is like, each question is unique. Rather than focusing that on which page number there was a question and this question is from which chapter, if you just clean all of that and look at one question at a time, one line at a time, read it, try to understand it, and take it normally. This is normal maths. 2 plus 2 is 4. For that, you don't need any like extraordinary calculation. Do you understand?
Yes.
So that is actually what is required to pass F5, and I think that is why this is one of the biggest problem for the students across the globe. It's not only in Qatar, it's not only in GCC. All over the place, people find F5 too difficult. Why? Because the question can be given to you in any format, right? It can be given to you in any format. See, the same thing. Fine. All these things are given. Now, if I just write this demand units and price per unit, right? So instead of writing it this way, if I write it this way, demand and price. So here I will write the price 9, 10, 11, 12, and the, like, the demand here. Some student will get confused now what to do with this because they haven't seen it this way. They haven't seen it this way. So they don't know what to do with this. Out of syllabus questions, sir. This year they gave out of syllabus question. They'll come up with these kind of analysis. All right. So seriousness is what is required, and you have to understand that without this there is no ACCA. You can't pass ACCA without F5. Fine. And there is no enjoyment in, like, trying 10 times and feeling that okay, next time it will be done. Instead of trying, you try to pass the exam at once. So give your 100% at once and get over with this. Fine. Now, cost plus pricing versus target costing. So what are the differences here? Okay. See, now we are talking about the marketing stuff because this whole thing that we discussed here was for cost based, right? Now let's talk about market based method, and now we'll be talking something about marketing subject. Fine. So hopefully little bit entertaining stuff. Maybe I hope you guys will like it. Okay. Now see the marketing strategies, because see, most of the time what happens when we are trying to produce something and sell it in the market, instead of looking at the cost, we have to look at what is happening in the market. Why? Especially there is one more reason, because of the psychology, right? If you are getting a white shirt for 50 real and you are getting another white shirt for 250 real, you will buy or not, that's a different case. But which one is better? So you don't know anything, right? What white I'm talking about, but you feel that this will be better than this, correct? Normal human psychology, correct? Okay. So this is what we are talking about when we are talking about markets, because in markets, these kind of psychologies, these kind of things do work. Okay. Now, see, the first one is market skimming pricing. Fine. Market skimming pricing. The word skim, you may have seen in the packets of milks, skimmed milk. All right. Skim is a process through which The cream from the milk is extracted. It is extracted. So skimmed milk means the cream, the fat has already been removed from the milk. And now, like, if you don't want to get fat, then you can have this kind of toned milk. All right. This is called a skim. Now, this is skim. How does it comes into the market and how it becomes a skimming pricing? They are saying a skimming pricing. Fine. So in this pricing, what you will see is that the owner, okay, is trying to, like, take the cream out of the market. Means those people, whatever money they can pay, all right, he is trying to take that amount. Like, for example, if I have created this pen, all right, this is a fountain pen. I have created this pen and like very unique and all that stuff. Now, the thing is, I have to make a choice at what price I want to sell it. All right. Now, see, I will keep the price like too high. Fine. Like, let's say 1,000 real. So normal people will not even think about buying this pen. And this pen, apart from all the values, the most important value that this will have is steam value. All right. It will have a steam value. Now, owning this pen is a big thing. Like, for example, in India, owning an iPhone, it's a big thing. Here, everybody has it. So, like, the example will not fit here. Fine. In India, I know many people who have purchased iPhone just to show to other people that I have got iPhone. Fine. So this is the esteem value that you attach to a particular product. Now what will happen? See, rich people, they love differentiation. They like to be differentiated from other people. So, and that is again one of the example of, what do you call that, designer clothes. Like, why you want designer clothes? Buy clothes from good brand. But you have so much of money, what to do with that money? And then the clothes that you are wearing, nobody else can afford. There is only one of that kind of cloth. So, like, you want that differentiation, that I am different from you guys. Now what happens here is that the producer is using this kind of mindset, this kind of behavior of the customer. So price at 1,000, there will be only 5 people, let's say, who will be able to afford this. No problem, you got 5,000. Fine. And again, after 3 months, there is, like, fountain pen 2.0 new version. The price of that is 1,200 and the price of the older one goes down to like 700, or maybe let's say 500. Okay. So other people who were waiting for this, the price to drop a little bit so that it will become affordable to them, now they will also take some small loan and they will buy this pen. All right. So now the second layer of people are buying this one. Let's say another, like, 50 people, 100 people, they started coming in this. Fine. Then slowly this pen will keep on going down. All right. And, like, it will go all the way down to everybody who wants to buy this pen. So what is happening? See, let's say this pen was having a cost value of only 50 real. All right, the cost value is only 50 real. But what this company did is, they took from the customers not the price of the pen, they took from the customer what the customer was ready to pay. Okay. Skimming pricing. And I hope you can see how is this working. So whatever layer by layer is coming to you, you are taking that money. Fine. It is not about the product anymore. Fine. This gives you a margin, because when other people will see that you are doing this, they will also jump into this market. Fine. So then you can give some discounts because you have got a huge margin there, right? Even if you give 50% discount, that is 500, you are at a profit, right? This is called skimming pricing. This can be done only when the product is new and when the market is new. Fine. The kind of stuff which Nokia did when they came to India. All right. So initially, the mobile phones, the black kind of pencil box type pens with small screen and antenna. All right. They were sold at a very huge price, and only those people in India who actually needed, or as I said, differentiation, fine, who could afford this, they purchased this mobile phone. Otherwise, everybody was happy without the phone. Our landline was good, fine. And then slowly, like all the prices came down, and now everybody has a phone. This is called skimming pricing. The next one that we have is penetration pricing. Okay, penetration pricing is when you reduce your product's price and you try to penetrate into someone else's market. Fine. So there is a product, there is a market. Everybody in the market who wants to own that product, they have it already. Right? Now you want to take that out of their hand and give your own product. You have to do penetration pricing. Like the recent example is Jio. What is Jio doing in India right now? Okay, this is the best example of penetration pricing. Fine. For 1 year they gave free data, free everything, free. Just take the sim for free and use it for free for 1 year. So in that 1 year all the competitors were already out of the market. Already they had got nothing. Like how much loss you will face. Fine. And once everybody will get out, then Jio will start making profit. Okay. Anyways, this is penetration pricing, where you reduce the price to enter the market, get a market share, and then you will talk about quality of the product, and then you will compete with quality on quality with your competitors. That is penetration pricing. Okay. Market penetration pricing. Then complementary product pricing. Complementary product. So if you buy this, you will get this also with it. Fine. One second. Okay. So yeah, complementary product. Fine. Where two products complement each other. Fine. So are goods that tends to be bought and used together. So like like for example, full suit. So they'll give you a suit, a shirt with that, a tie, everything combined, and they'll put a price on that. Fine. That is called complementary product pricing. Then product line pricing. Product line pricing. See, product line is a group of products that are related to one another. Okay. A product line may be a range of branded products, and a consistent pricing policy should be used to all the products in the range. Fine. So like product line is basically means what are the like things you are offering. Like for example, if you just look at Samsung. Okay, Samsung and the mobile phones. Samsung is currently running, I think, J series, A series, M series, and what? S, right? And Note, correct? Maybe I thought, maybe I'm forgetting something, but like for the time being, fine. So many things, and then here you have A10, A20, M10, M20, and M20 plus, and M20 Lite. All right. So same with here, and then 30, 50, 80. Do you understand? In Note, so like there are so many products available, there is a risk that there can be competition among the same, like brands. One, I mean, same brand, same product. Maybe M20 will kill A20. So you have to keep the pricing in such a way that every product in this bucket will make sense. Okay. There will be something, and that is what you will find if you will observe this carefully. Okay. You will find that the battery is good here, the display is better in this one, the camera is good in this one. So what do you want? Accordingly you will be able to pay the money, and if you want everything best, then go for like the last version. You will find everything best here. That is the highest price that you have to pay. Okay, if you are ready to compromise on the battery life and you want uh, better camera only, then go for, I'm just saying, making this whole thing fine. So you can go with S. I don't know, I don't know much about the phones, fine. Anyways, I'm like little bit technically challenged kind of a guy. I don't understand all this too much. I'm telling you that this is how product line pricing is done. Fine. When you are having so much of the similar kind of product in one bucket, while doing the pricing, you have to be careful so that there shouldn't be competition among the products in themselves. Okay. Do the reading. Price discrimination when in two different markets. Fine. Different prices are being charged. That is called price discrimination. Fine. Now, like how many ways this price discrimination can be done? For example, see a doctor who is sitting in a government hospital, there he charges less money. Then in his own chamber he will charge more money because it is little bit better and well equipped. All right. And on the street, if he finds somebody and he feels like that dying, so maybe he will write the prescription for free for that guy. Okay, so same product, right? Same product is being provided at three different places at three different prices. Okay, this is called price discrimination. He can do it because this is his own product. Fine. As far as other products are concerned, because this was service which we were talking about, but as far as product is concerned, there are few rules. All right. Like for example, there has to be a geographical difference between the place. Fine. Otherwise, like for example, if you are selling something in which place, let's say Sanaya, all right, you are selling something for $5 there, and the same thing is being sold here in Doha for, okay, I think Sanaya is also in Doha. Sorry for all this, all right. Sanaya
That's
and let's
okay.
say Hilal, all right. So here, if you are selling it for let's say $8, fine, it's not geographically too different from here. People can go and buy from Sanaya. So what will happen is you will find that the demand in that place will increase and the demand in Hilal will go down. All right, until and unless you can geographically put a barrier in between these two markets. Okay, so these are few of the, like, things which are required for price discrimination required. Okay. Okay, this question here, curl Curl Town Cinema operates a chain of 30 cinema. Standard admission price is 7 per person, but this is subject to certain discount. Average attendance at the cinema per month is on normal price day is 5,000 people, but this is expected to be subject to a seasonal variation as follows. So January, February till December they have given, and this is the variation they have given in percentage. Means in January there will be 10% more people. So 5,500 people. In February less, 2% less. So 98% of 5,000. Fine. Now they are saying in December, January, July and August. So you will have to mark December, January, July and August. Fine. Audience are made up of 60% under 14 who pay half price. For the rest of the year, 14 under 14 represent only 10% of the audience. Fine. 1 day per month, all tickets are sold at a special price of $1, irrespective of the age of the customer. This invariably guarantees a full house of 200 customers. Now, what is the total revenue for the cinema for the year? Okay, if this puts up prices of for over 14 other than $1 special offer price to 8, what will its total revenue for cinema admission be for the year, and should the special offer be continued? Fine. So three questions they have asked, and actually I think I'm going a little bit fast with this. I should take time on this particular question, which obviously I'll not, because today I'm trying to finish this chapter. Okay. Okay. So we are almost at the end of this chapter, because relevant costing I will not do today. Relevant costing is it, like, it starts in this chapter, but it continues in the next chapter. Fine. Here they have given us one question and then this is over. And see, in the next chapter, again, it starts from what? Relevant costing. So the basic question and discussion of relevant costing is done in the next chapter. I don't know why they have given this big question in the previous one. Fine. So the chapter which we are doing right now in chapter number 7, I will not talk about relevant costing. Okay. So fine. Finally, we are left with this question. Okay. Finally, we are left with this question. Once we are done with this chapter is over for me. And then next class, I will do relevant costing where I will talk about the theory of it. And then this one question which is given in this chapter, we'll come back and do this. Fine. Now, first, that is like, the program, the plan which we are going to do. Now here, you have already done the maths. I mean, you have already read the question and you see all these numbers. Fine. Standard admission price is 7 per person. Now what we have to do is, again, this January, February and all that, we will calculate all of these variances and find the numbers first. Okay. Then we will divide this number into under 14 and above 14, and then accordingly we'll multiply with the rates. Okay, we'll multiply with the rates. Here they have already done all of that for us. See, January, February, this is the variation, right? Now average is 5. So see, adjusted number is what? 5,000 into 1.1, 10% extra. So 5,500. Okay. And then they are saying that full price will be charged at what rate and what will be the half price. Fine. So in the question only, if you will see, they said that for January, December, January and July, August, fine, 40% or I think 60% will be under 14. See, December, January, July, August. Fine. 60% people are under 14. So here you will see that January, it is like here you see 60, and then July, August 60 and December 60. Okay. So what they have done, you can do the calculation for this one. Okay. Do the maths. 5,500 total number of people multiplied by 40%. That is the adult people above, not adult above 14. All right. So 5,500 into zero point 0.4 multiplied by 7, because that is the ticket price which they are going to pay. Fine. You will get 15,400. Fine. And similarly, 5,500 into zero point 0.6 multiplied by 3.5, half ticket below 14. Okay, you will get 11,550. So that way you do the maths, and then for the rest of the period they were saying that half price tickets will only be 10%, right? So if this is 10, this is 90. Again, 90% of 4,900 into 7 and 10% of 4,900 into 3.5 will give you this. So when you add these two numbers, fine, that is the total per cinema. Fine. That is the total per cinema. In the question they have said that you have got 30 cinemas. Don't forget that there are 30 cinemas. So this is what you are going to get for one cinema. Multiply by 30. That is the value of 30 cinemas. Okay. And in this whole maths, the next part of the question is little bit interesting. I think the last one was some emotional stuff. Yeah. Fine. The last one is like emotional calculations. Here they are saying, if the company puts up prices for over 14, okay, to $8. Okay, so over 14 people will now pay $8. What is the total revenue for this for the year B? So if they increase the price from 7 to 8, what will happen? That is the question. Fine. So see, the first thing is that this 308,735 half tickets, sorry, full tickets, this was the full ticket, right? This was the full ticket price. This is the half ticket, 59832. So this is the full ticket. Now, in this full ticket, what will happen? 308,735, first of all, multiplied by 30 is subtracted, because that will go out. Instead of this, now you will get 8 by 7, right? Because this is the calculation on $7. So for $8, how much? So 308,735 into 8 by 7 into 8 by 7, that will give you the price, the new revenue from one cinema, then multiply by 30. So what they did is they subtracted the old one and they added the new one. Okay, it's simple. See, 8 by 7. The rest of the maths is same. It is 8 by 7. Fine. So for $7, if it is 308, for $8, how much? Fine. They did the maths, they did the total here, and now you got the new number. Fine. So should you do this? Should you change the value? Obviously, yes, because that's giving you more money. Okay. Now, next class we'll start with relevant costing. Okay. And I think next class we'll just do relevant costing only from the book and then from the revision kit also. Relevant costing is little bit complicated stuff. So we will deal with relevant costing one at a time. Okay. Any questions from all of the things that we did today?
No.